These few ingredients are gonna take your tacos to another level. We're gonna start our fajita tacos with some skirt steak, and today I'm gonna do a very light trim before we get this into a marinade. All I'm looking for is these pieces right here where there's a lot of fat. You can see it's not too much, but I do wanna take this off, so I just like to get my knife and almost go exactly parallel with the meat, and then just come down at an angle and slowly but surely take that fat off. So my goal is to get as little meat as possible. You can see that's very little meat. All I'm looking to do is take this off all over. So you can see that there's a few more little pieces here. Make sure you got a sharp knife, and you can take that right off. So that's good there. I'm just gonna get my knife, take a few more of these pieces off. You can almost remove some of it with your hands sometimes, so you may not have to take the knife directly to it. Pretty simple. Like you can see here, I can almost rip this off. It's like a little film. Go here. There we go. And that's all we need to do. So the bottom side here, you can see there's a little bit more of that fat. That's completely fine. I'm not too worried about that. We're good to grill these. For our skirt steak today, we want to put this into a marinade just so we can get maximum flavor on our tacos. I'm going to start with 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, a 1/4 cup of pineapple juice. This is going to help break down and tenderize our skirt steak. We'll also add 1/3 cup of freshly squeezed lime, 1 tablespoon of freshly minced garlic, 1/4 cup of cilantro. We'll do a couple shakes of ground cumin. We'll do a couple shakes of chili powder. We'll do the same exact thing with paprika. We'll do a teaspoon of salt, and then about 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and mix everything together. Now I've got my 2 skirt steaks in a gallon bag. I'm just gonna pour the marinade all in. We'll zip it up, try and get as much of that air out as possible. I'll just move that marinade around a little bit, try and get it all over the meat. And this is gonna go into the refrigerator for the next 4 hours. It's been right at 4 hours on our fajitas. We just took them out of the refrigerator. We're about to start grilling, but we wanted to make a pico de gallo. So this is actually the reason that we wanted to make tacos today in general. The wife and I just felt like eating pico de gallo. I said it on the podcast recently, but if you guys don't know, you know, in my family for the longest time, as long as I can remember, every single barbecue or grill session that Dad had outside, when we come inside, there's pico de gallo on the table. So this is not a traditional pico de gallo, but this is exactly how we like to make it. Let me show you what it's like. We're gonna start with 5 Roma tomatoes. Next up is 1 white onion. Next up, 2 small jalapenos. You can use 1 large one if you have it. Seeds are optional. We usually do half of them, but you can add them all or take them all out if you'd like. A handful of cilantro. And we also like to add 2 small avocados. Of course, if you have 1 large one, that's fine too. Next up, we'll squeeze 2 fresh lemons. And at my parents' house, the lemon is probably just as important as the salt. My sisters, my dad, my mom, everyone will actually argue about what's the perfect amount. I would say that we all like it pretty sour, I guess, at our house. It's got to have a pretty good lemon bite here. And now we're going to add at least a teaspoon of salt. So what I like to do is add a little bit, mix everything together, and then we got to taste. Now, in my opinion, also one of the best things to do when you're making this pico de gallo is make sure that everything is cut to about the same size. And that's why, in my opinion, Sabrina makes it the best, because she takes her time and she'll cut up all the vegetables and make sure that they're just about the same size. Me personally, I really don't do that. I kind of just throw everything in, but Sabrina will make sure everything is pretty consistent size-wise. Make sure we got a little bit of everything in one bite. And now we have to take quick taste. Now I think that tastes really good, but it needs more salt for my liking, so we're gonna add just a little bit more. Try some more. That's much better. Now we're just gonna transfer it into a container, and this is gonna go into the refrigerator until it's time to eat. We're outside at the Weber kettle. I've got about 3/4 of a chimney of Royal Oak briquettes. You can see I have some left over from the last cook. I'm just gonna pour these right over top. Just gonna spread these out just a little bit. I'm actually creating 2 zones here today, and the reason is because I'm throwing some sausage on. 2 zones is really, really simple. It just means that you have a hot zone and a cool zone. The cool zone is obviously gonna be the side with no coals under it, so you have a little bit of a fail-safe. If things are getting too hot over here, you can always move stuff over here, or vice versa. If you wanna put some sear on it, you can put it right on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and get my grate right on, and now we're ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna grab some of the fajitas right out of the bag. I'm not gonna drain anything off of them. Just gonna go straight onto the grate. As soon as it hits, you can smell that marinade. It really does smell so delicious. Now, in the wife and I's opinion, this marinade is not very salty. We do like it because we can control the salt, but I'm gonna go over top with that base. This is our salt, pepper, garlic blend. And now I'm gonna quickly flip everything over. And we'll do the same exact thing to the top side. Now, this shouldn't take long at all. We're just gonna keep flipping continuously. Again, I have not closed this lid yet. Gonna use that Arnie Tex method. Flippity flip. After about 7 to 8 minutes and continuously flipping, I'm gonna go ahead and call these good. We didn't temp them or anything like that, but they just look good and they feel good when I'm picking them up with my tongs. Got a good color on them. It's really all that I was looking for. They still feel nice and soft. Now we're inside. It's been about 8 minutes since we took our fajitas off of the grill, and now we're just gonna slice them up. So one of the things that everybody talks about, and I agree with how important it is to cut against the grain. So if you guys look closely, you can see that this grain is running toward me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make my first cut with the grain, okay? Now, I'm gonna rotate this, and you have a decision to make here. Do you want these pieces longer, or do you want them a little bit shorter? To be honest, I want these a little bit shorter, so I'm actually gonna make another cut here. Move that out of the way. And then we're gonna rotate this 90 degrees, and now we're gonna cut against the grain. You can make these pieces as thick or as thin as you want, but now you can see that we're cutting against the grain and we're making those muscle fibers a little bit shorter, and that's gonna make for a more tender bite. We'll just take a piece right out of the middle, and you can see those muscle fibers are shortened. If you pull it apart, it should be pretty simple. These are really tender fajitas. We're just gonna cut the rest of these up. Before we make our taco, I just wanted to take a quick bite of this fajita. We could talk about what it tastes like. If you guys don't want to make the actual taco itself, then you'll know what this is like. Such a smooth bite on that fajita. I get a little bit of citrus coming through with that lime. Tastes really delicious. Plenty of flavor from the garlic. Everything just adds a really, really good bite to this fajita. I know for a fact, well, of course I know that it's marinated, but you can taste that it's marinated, and I think that that just brings for such a good flavor. Searing this over direct coals obviously gives it a really good enhancement as well. But if you guys want to do this inside on a griddle or a cast iron, that's going to build some really, really good flavor. Overall, this is a great fajita. You can eat it exactly like this, and I do not think you'd be disappointed. Now, what we wanted to do today was make some delicious tacos. So we're going to go ahead and start adding some of our skirt steak. And this wasn't part of the video, but I'm going to go ahead and throw some sausage on one of them. And now we're gonna go right over top with that avocado pico de gallo. I can tell you this one ain't gonna close. It's all good. So much incredible flavor. That is exactly what I wanted. The pico de gallo really comes through, and I mean it when I say that this is something you should have at every single barbecue, at every single grill session. It really takes anything that you're eating over the top. Now again, these fajitas are perfect just on their own, so if you guys don't want to put it on a tortilla, that's completely fine. They will stand on their own. Just add some of this pico de gallo or put them in maybe a quesadilla or something like that. I don't know. Whatever you do with this, it is going to turn out incredible. As always, we really appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.